1, Lesson 6, Part 1 of 2. Absolute value equations, special solution types, introduction. Okay, let's consider a problem here. We've got x minus 3 in absolute value plus 1 equals 12, and we're going to check the solutions. Remember the steps. First, we need to isolate the absolute value expression. This 1 plus 1 is in the way, so we're going to do a minus 1 on both sides. And again, throughout this video, when I do something on both sides, I highlight it with a red box around it. And after I subtract 1 on both sides, I get x minus 3 in absolute value equals 11. Now I can move on and split the equation. The x minus 3 creates two different equations. One of them equals 11, exactly what's on the other side. The other one equals negative 11, the opposite of what's on the other side. And then we're going to solve both of these. Let's start with the x minus 3 equals 11. We're going to get rid of the minus 3 by doing a plus 3 on both sides. The minus 3 plus 3 is going to be 0. That's gone. 11 plus 3 is 14. I get x equals 14. Now I'm going to check that real quick. It's x minus 3 in absolute value plus 1 is 12. 14 minus 3 is 11. 11 plus 1 is 12. That's true. So that one does work. Let's go and finish this one. X minus 3 is negative 11. We'll start by adding 3 to both sides. Negative 3 plus 3 is 0. That's gone. We just get x. Negative 11 plus 3 is negative 8. Let's try negative 8 and see if it works. Negative 8 minus 3 is negative 11. Absolute value of that is 11. 11 plus 1 is 12. That does work. So both of these these answers work. So x could be negative 8 or x could be 14. Both of them work. Okay, let's look at another one. There was actually a problem like this on the assignment from a couple days back. X minus 1 in absolute value equals negative 3, and then we're going to check the solutions. Well, first we start with it, and since the absolute value is already by itself, we can split the equation. X minus 1 equals what's on the other side, and x minus 1 equals the opposite of what's on the other side. Let's solve this one first. We've got the minus 1, so let's do a plus 1 on both sides. Negative 1 plus 1, that's 0, that's gone. Negative 3 plus 1 is negative 2, so we get x equals negative 2. However, when I plug this in, negative 2 minus 1 is negative 3. When I take the absolute value, I get 3. 3 does not equal negative 3, so that won't work. Let's do the other one. X minus 1 equals 3. We're going to add 1 to both sides and get x equals 4. Then we try it in to see if it works. 4 minus 1 is 3. Does the absolute value of 3 equal negative 3? That doesn't work either. Because neither of the solutions I produced work, there is no solution here. But there is something new here. An absolute value equation can have no solution due to the definition of absolute value. All right, what do I mean by the definition of absolute value? Well, absolute value we learned in the past is distance from 0. And since we're talking about the distance from 0, distance is always a positive value. And in this case, we have it equal a negative 3. So if ever you have an absolute value equaling a negative, that is not possible. There will be no solution in that case. And if you see one of these on your practice or on the test where it equals a negative like this, you will automatically know there's no solution. Okay, let's try another one. Absolute value x plus 4 equals x, and we're going to check the solutions. Now this one's a little different because we have an x on the other side. That's new. We haven't done one like that before, but we still go through the same process. Because the absolute value is by itself, we can split it into two equations. X plus 4 equals x, and x plus 4 equals the opposite of x. Now let's do the x plus 4 equals x first. If we subtract x from both sides, we get 4 over 0, 4 equals 0, and that gives us no solution. There is no solution there. Okay, let's look at this one. We would subtract x from both sides. This gives us 4 equals negative 2x. Divide both sides by negative 2, and we get x equals negative 2. Now, that does give us a solution with the math, but we've got to plug it in and see if it works. We get negative 2 plus 4. That is 2. Absolute value is 2. 2 does not equal negative 2, though. So this one, in all, has no solution. So what's new? An absolute value equation can produce a solution that does not work when you check it. This is called an extraneous solution. So even though the math produced this, the reason it didn't work is because x ended up being negative, and you can never have an absolute value that equals a negative number. So because x was negative, it ended up not working. Whereas solving can produce an incorrect solution, it's important to check your solutions. This one ended up having no solution overall. Okay, solve absolute value 5x plus 1 equals 6x minus 12. All right, on this one, we've already got the absolute value by itself, so we can go ahead and split it. 5x plus 1 equals exactly what's on the other side, 6x minus 12. The other equation, 5x plus 1 equals the opposite of 6x minus 12, which would be negative 6x plus 12, changing both signs to make it the opposite. Now, solving this one first, we go ahead and subtract 5x from both sides. And when we do that, we get 1 left equals x minus 12. We'll go ahead and add the 12 to both sides. We get 13 equals x. And that is the solution we get from this side of the split equation. Now, if we do the other one, we're going to add 6x to both sides. This gives 11x plus 1 is 12. Go ahead and subtract the 1. You get 11x equals 11. And then divide by 11, and x equals 1 here. So we did get two different answers. Now we just need to check them. If we check the 13, plugging in the 13 for x, 5 times 13 plus 1 is 66. 6 times 13 minus 12, that's 78 minus 12. That does equal 66, so that one works. If I plug in 1, 5 times 1 plus 1, that's 6. 6 times 1 minus 12 is negative 6. 6 does not equal negative 6. So in this case, only one of those answers works, the 13. Okay, this is like what we had on the previous page. Absolute value equation can produce a solution that does not work, and you need to check it. This produced the solution x equals 1, but it does not work when we check it out. There's actually going to be a pattern to this we're looking for. There's 3 options for the solutions. Well, there is a 4th option, but we're not going to really do much with it in 8th grade because it's kind of beyond the scope of 8th grade. The first option for no solution, we're going to have the absolute value of something equals a certain type of number that will give us no solution. Well, we kind of ran into that. If the absolute value equals a negative, you will not get a solution because it's not possible for the absolute value to equal a negative. We can get one solution if absolute value equals a 0, and 2 solutions when it equals a positive. Now, if my absolute value, whatever's here, it doesn't matter, but there's x is on the other side, okay, like x, absolute value x plus 3 equals 2x. If there's x's on the other side, we'll have to solve before we'll know if this is going to be negative 0 or positive, and we won't know until we solve it. So those you just have to check your solutions. Now, the 4th option that we won't get to in 8th grade is this idea that whatever's inside the absolute value is exactly the same as what's on the other side. And this gives an answer that it works for all positive numbers, but not for negative numbers. So that's kind of a weird situation. And we won't be doing that really in 8th grade. Just this idea here. Now, let's look at some examples. And we're just going to use this idea of no solution, 1 solution, or no 2 solutions, because none of them have the x on the other side. So x plus 4 equals 0. Because it equals 0, that should have only one solution. And it disappeared. That is correct. 5x plus 1 in absolute value equals negative 3. Because it equals a negative 3, that is going to have no solution. And that's correct. 9, absolute value 9 minus 4x equals 41. It equals a positive number, so this should have 2 solutions. It does. I don't know why it's not disappearing. Absolute value of x equals negative 6 is going to have no solution. Absolute value of x equals 0 has only one solution. Okay, 5 minus x in absolute value equals 0.5. That is a positive number, so we should get 2 solutions there. x plus 17 in absolute value equals negative 31 because it equals a negative. That's not possible. There'll be no solution. Absolute value 15 plus x equals 4. Because it equals a positive, we should get two solutions. 417 plus 139x in absolute value equals 0. Because it equals 0, we should expect to get one solution. Now on these, because they just equal a number, we can tell what it's going to be. And we're going to put that in our notes in the next video.